Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Welcome to the Top Producer Show. Oh, excuse me. Oop, got a little frog in my throat. Sorry about that. So, welcome to the Top Producer Show. So, our mission is to educate, equip, and train servant leaders. Our vision is to create financially independent achievers, and our purpose is to help people grow. So we're going over the book Think and Grow Rich, and before we jump into the next chapter, we're going to go ahead and invite some people onto here.
Doom, 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 doom.
All right, and here we go.
Okay, guys, this is Jeff Gamble from Indianapolis, Indiana, and this is the Top Producer Show, where normally we come on at 11:30, but every once in a while we got to change things around and make everything else happen, appointments, etc. But we will get the show in every day. So we are on Chapter 5 of Think and Grow Rich, and this is the fourth step towards riches, and it's one of the most important. 13 principles are all important, but this one happens to be very important, especially to those of you who are trying to figure out how to build something. And the fourth step towards riches is specialized knowledge. Personal experience or observations. Personal experience or observations is the way to get this specialized knowledge. What is he eating?
Oh, what'd you find?
Hold on. Cat decides to eat stuff in the middle of the show. You know how that works. Two kinds of knowledge. There's general knowledge and specific knowledge or specialized knowledge. General knowledge, no matter how great in quantity or variety may it be, is of little use or a little use in the accumulation of money. Andrew, what's happening? Chase Brown's here. What's up, sir? Andrew Finder, how are you? So general knowledge, no matter how great in quantity, this is why a general degree is not worth shit. Because it's like the more you pile on, the more, it's almost like the farther away you get from being able to accumulate riches, because you know a little bit of everything, but you don't know anything specific. It says most professors have little money, most teachers. What he was talking about is the people who are trying to teach about finance, the people who are trying to teach about building a business have never built a business, which is a problem if they're trying to teach you how to do it. It's all based in theory. It's all based in books. They haven't actually done it, which is why it's always better to go to somebody who's built a business to find out how to build a business. Not that some basic knowledge, accounting can be taught in school. That's a specialized skill. That's a specialized knowledge. But I'm just talking about general, people are like, well, I'm getting a general business degree. I'm like, to make general money. They specialize on teaching knowledge, but they do not teach specialized on they do not specialize in the organization or the use of the knowledge. Knowledge will not attract money unless it's organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action to a definite end of the accumulation of money. So it's like the goal has to be, this is how to make X number of dollars. Knowledge is only potential power. It only becomes power when it's organized with definite plans and directed towards a definite end. Before you can be sure of your ability to transmute desire into monetary equivalent, you will require specialized knowledge of service, merchandise, and or profession which you intend to offer a return. So Chelsea, how are you? What they're saying is you need to become an expert in your field. Like if you want to accumulate money, and here's what I was told early on inside the network marketing, inside the direct sales world. They said, look, if you want somebody to pay you, you have to be an expert. Nobody wants to pay for, I mean, can you imagine? Well, I got an average attorney, or I got an average accountant, or I got a middle of the road. Nobody wants to pay for average. You want to pay for the best. You want to pay for the person who can really get it done. And that's why people of, great wealth say, who is the best in this field? I was watching a video by Dan Pena, which I don't always recommend to people watching, but I was watching a video by Dan Pena, and he was talking about a meeting he was in, and it was I want to say it was a 50 billion or 50, was it 50 billion? No, it's 50 million. It was a $50 million deal. And he's like, oh, okay, so who do we have? And they had 5 people who are going to be the CEO. He goes, but who is the best person for the job? And they were able to pull up a name, and he's like, well, who has his number? And Dan Pena made a cold call right there on the phone, and he's like, look, if I could help you make $50 million in the next 12 months, would you be interested? And the guy's like, who, and Dan just kind of held his ground. He's like, I can help you make $50 million in the next 12 months. Are you interested? And 10 minutes later, they were on their way to his office to talk to him. So specialized knowledge, knowing who is the best. He also had a group of people around him. He goes, I had all these attorneys, and there were also, the big bankers were there. This was years ago when Goldman Sachs and people like that were all there because they were all looking at financing this deal. And he was able to get it done in 10, 15 minutes. So specialized knowledge is what helps you make the money. If it says before, you can be sure to transmute. Okay, if you need more, you can gain it through the aid of a mastermind group. So what they're saying is if you can't figure it out yourself, you can gain this information through a mastermind group. A mastermind group is a group of people who are actually doing it in the field. And that's where so many people screw up in what I've seen. So many people screw up inside of direct sales and network marketing is they go to all these outside gurus that have never built anything significant, that do not know which direction to go. They just listen to a bunch of other people and be like, well, I think this and I think that. Well, that can mess you up more. That can mess you up more than you going and screwing it up yourself. If you need more, you can gain it through this mastermind. So the specialized knowledge does not have to be in possession of the person who accumulates a fortune. You just have to go to the experts to get it. So there are ways to acquire specialized knowledge. Number one, one's own experience and education. That's one way to do it. 2, experience and education available through the cooperation of a mastermind alliance. So I think these are kind of in order. Like if you go out and figure it out yourself, it's probably best. But you can also figure it out from other people, depending on what your profession and what you're getting into. If you want to be a top performer in your industry, this would be good. Specialized knowledge. So what kind of knowledge would you need? Well, you need knowledge on recruiting. You need knowledge on running things. You need knowledge on team building. You need knowledge on how to keep your mental state and your energy up. The fastest way to learn specialized knowledge is a mentor. The fastest way is a mentor. The second fastest way is you going out and messing it up quickly. There's a phrase inside of network marketing that's like, well, slow and steady wins the race. The turtle wins the race. That's a fucking kid story. It's not real. People are like, oh my God, that's got to be a business principle. It's a kid's story. It's not real. If you go slow in business, here's what we know. You will get run over. You will get run over. Like the turtle in the race got ran over. That's what happened. Now, he had a hard shell and he's okay. I'm not saying go run over turtles. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a certain amount of speed. Look, success, and this is kind of interesting, success likes speed. People gather around people who, accumulate fast. The person who's running quickly, the person who's, do you want to go see the slowest person in the world or the fastest? And everybody says the fastest. Do you want to see the most average athlete or do you want to see the best athlete and the best athlete? Do you want to go see the top bodybuilder in the world or do you want to go, see kind of a mediocre bodybuilder? And everybody's like, I would rather see the top. So you can see right away, like desire is always going after the best. Like that's who I want to see. That's who I want to be around. That's how to attract them. So 2 is experience and education available through the cooperation of a mastermind. 3, college universities. That's where you're being taught the theory. And last, public libraries and books, Google, YouTube, etc. Now, why are those not sometimes as good? Because they can lead you in the wrong direction very quickly. 5, specialized training courses. Knowledge has no value except which can be gained from the application towards some worthy end. This is where I actually got the workshop idea for our own personal team. This is where I got the workshop idea for leads. I said, well, that would be a cool mastermind group and a workshop where you get to actually hear from people who are working it, who are doing it, and it works, and they know it works. And then you can actually go do it right there and actually see the results. So what we do is we pull up lead lists and we start actually marketing the lead list, and we time it and then track it, and we have numbers at the end to show people this is why we know it works. And it is, talk about proof. People are like, okay, now I have absolutely no doubt that this can happen for me. And it just helps tremendously. Know why you are learning it before you learn it. Why am I learning this? So that's where I believe the dream comes in. That's where the goals come in. Why am I doing this? Well, the reason I'm taking this class, the reason I'm going through this workshop, the reason I'm listening to this person is I want to know how to do this so I can be a full-time parent, so I can stay home and not have to go back to work ever. So I can travel once everything's open and you're allowed to go places. So I can, take a Tuesday or a Friday off and I don't have to worry about the money. So I can pay my bills, so I can pay off my bills, things like this. Make sure all things have a purpose. Ask yourself, why? Why am I learning this? That will help. It's one more, what we used to say is one more turn of the combination to be able to unlock the key to go fast where you absolutely positively know exactly what to do and how to do it. We have in this country the greatest public school system in the world. One of the strangest things about human beings is that they value only that which has a price. Isn't that funny? So once something becomes free, a lot of times people don't value it, which is why if you look at some of the most specialized training, it's also the most expensive because that's where value is placed. What costs more? A general biology degree from a 4U university or a doctor's degree? And you're like, well, it's not the same. Exactly. One of them specialized. I will tell you that the doctor degree is more expensive in basically every case that I know of. Why? Because it's specialized. And people put a price and value on that. That's why I don't just answer random ass phone calls from people anymore. People are like, hey, can I consult with you? Can I this? I'm like, yeah, it's $500 an hour. Why? Because I started looking at what I was making when I was working, and it averaged out to about $500 an hour. For every hour I put in, we've earned back about $500, and that's based on taxes and all that. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to start charging $500 an hour if somebody just wants to go chat. Because I'm not here to chat. I don't have time to do that. The whole reason I work so hard is so I don't have to just hang out and do stuff that I don't want to do. If you want the information, what it does is it really solves a lot of problems. And yes, people have gone, okay, that makes sense. It's worth it. And I've been able to help every single person that I've sat down with either make the decision that they were trying to make or move forward in their business. Like we've either promoted or propelled, or they're like, I'm in, I'm out. Save yourself time and money by asking people who know what to do. And I don't know what to do in every area, but certain areas I do. One of the strange things about human emotions is value only price. The free schools in America and the free public libraries do not impress people because they're free. They're free. All the knowledge is there somewhere. You can get to people, but you have to also ask the right questions. Hey, I know you're teaching this, but have you done it? Now, there are some great professors out there. When my ex was in her master's program for business, I ended up sitting in on a couple classes. Now, I wasn't supposed to be participating in the class. I was just sitting in the back of the room, waiting. And the professor he kind of laid out this scenario. He goes, look, we were called in to be consultants on this project. I was like, cool, this is application. This is what I'm interested in. I didn't hear anything before. But he's like, look, here's what we did. We were asked, they were trying to sell more of this certain product, and it was in a glass case and blah, 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 blah. And, they were trying to sell it by the entire, they were trying to sell pies. It was weird. It was a retail a restaurant. And I believe it was Perkins, by the way. And if you've ever been to Perkins, they had all the pies up front. And they had them, and he's like, so what, he was kind of asking, what is your marketing? Actually, it was a master's degree in marketing. He goes, what is your plan to do this? And I was like, I thought of it right away. I was like, well, you have to build it into every conversation. So at the end, you have to ask every person for dessert. And then rather than selling the whole pie, you sell it by the slice. So that's it just popped in my head. So he asked the question, can anybody tell us what we should have done? And nobody said anything. And he's like, so there's nobody in the room. And when he said there's nobody in the room, he wasn't necessarily talking just to the class. Obviously, I was sitting in the room. So I raised my hand. Like any student would, and I was like, well, I would have built it into every conversation for the waitress, or waiter or waitress, and then I would sell it by the slice, and you can basically raise the price because you can sell a pie costs $10, but you can sell the slice like $3, and you can get 10 pieces, so now it's $30 for that same pie. And he's like, did you work there? I'm like, no, I didn't work there. He goes, so you just thought of that? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, that's exactly what we did. And he got paid big money for it, and I didn't get paid shit to answer the question. He goes, by the way, he's like, are you in my class? I'm like, no, I'm just hanging out. So it's weird. I hung out. I also hung out in law school. I have friends that, went to law school, and I hung out there as well. To the point where one of the professors who was in a study hall with a group of people, I just happened to be sitting there. He's like, hey son, what year are you? I see you around here a lot. I said, I'm not even in school here. I don't even have a degree. And he just kind of shook his head and walked away. And that story absolutely has no point at all. So, specialized knowledge. The Free School of America and the free public libraries are, people don't value because it's free. There is one weakness in people which there is no remedy, and that's the universal lack of ambition. Some people just don't want anything. They don't want anything. They're not there to get anything done. They just exist. They take up space. They suck up air. They're using up oxygen. They're using up resources, and they just don't want anything. And here's the thing. That's okay. That's okay. They don't have to want anything. Somebody needs to put the groceries in the cart and on the shelf. Somebody needs to, operate the gas station. I'm not trying to convince everybody to be wealthy, right? We don't need everybody running in the same direction. That's not what it's about. There has to be balance, and there are people out there that are designed that are just like, hey, I just want to exist. And then there's others of us that want to succeed, that want to excel, that want to do something great, and that requires activity, action. Dave Robertson, what's up, sir? So, persons, especially salaried people who schedule their spare time and learn to grow professionally, seldom remain at the bottom for very long. People who study. So we just recruited this new individual out of Mississippi, just south of Memphis, Tennessee. And she had a bunch of different careers, but one of the careers that she was in, she actually started at a credit union, and they had all these extra classes. So she was like, she had just moved there. She didn't have a friend network. So while she got things done at work, she would go on the computer. She was allowed to do this. She would go on the computer and study all of this. Basically, it was compliance-based stuff for credit unions and banks. She completed 30 classes in 30 days. 30 classes in 30 days. That's someone who's ambitious. That's someone who's motivated. And she went from a teller to becoming the assistant of an entire other department, and then she kind of became their right-hand person, which is very, very cool. Both success and failure are largely result of habits. Habits of doing more. Now, there's another part in this, and it's actually in The Science of Getting Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Science of Getting Rich, called Going the Extra Mile. And we'll talk about that in another chapter, going the extra mile. Specialized knowledge and then going the extra mile. She did the extra work, and here's what happens. When you do the extra work, you get noticed. When you do the extra work, it's almost near impossible that the leaders don't see you. Now, here's the other thing. It's a great separator because most people do just enough to not get fired. So when you do more, you get recognized right away by who? By the people who are running things, by the people who are leading things. Now, at first, you might piss them off. In fact, I've scared people before. I didn't know that's what was happening, but I scared them. They thought I was after their job. And I'm like, I don't want your job. I don't want to, I'm just doing what I'm doing. But you get recognized right away, and if you're in the right place, in the right environment, they will promote you. It also helps you make more money. Why? Because people who are willing to do more usually are the ones that get picked to make more money first. Doesn't matter how long you've been there. This is a problem inside of most companies, because most companies, well, we value because you've stayed here a long time. And they do all kinds of things to trap people inside of these jobs. Like, I've got several friends that work for companies, and they're like, well, if you're here a certain amount of time, we're going to give you stock. We're going to give you stock in our company. Now, some of the stock is really good. Like, I've got friends in some companies that the stock is really good. And I've got some friends that are in companies, I was like, the stock is completely fake. It's not actually stock. It's just investment in the company. It's to keep you there because you're like, well, I could leave, but I have these 100,000 issues of this fake stock. And literally, I have a friend they were trying to take the company public, but it was not public. So I don't know how that works, and I don't even know if it's legal now, but this was years ago, where they said, well, you have a certain amount of potential stock. And I was like, that even sounds more crazy. But that's how they keep people. They trap them. So both success and failure are largely a result of habits. The right business associations are either the vital factors for success or your failure. So here's what I learned. It is more important who you do business with than what business you're in. It's more important because the right people will always figure it out, and they will take off, and they will make tons of money. And the wrong people will screw up even the best business, even the best career. They'll mess it up. So you really want to look to who are the right people to be around. Who do you like being around? Who's having fun? Who's doing the right things? Who's in alignment with these principles? When you find the people who are in alignment with these principles, they are going to figure it out and figure it out big. So that's what we got for today. That's Friday's show. The Top Producer, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Monday through Friday, like I said, we're normally here from 11:30 to noon, but every once in a while we've got to change the time because of appointments, and that's what we had today. So
if you guys haven't yet, you want to go to our Top Producers Facebook group, or is it a page? I'm used to saying group. It's a page now. We also have a YouTube channel, so if you guys miss us, you could go to the YouTube channel and you could go back and rewatch these. And we appreciate hearing where you guys are plugging in from too. It's fun to see where everybody is from, where you're at, and where you're plugging in. So with that is what we have for you today, and we will see you guys on Monday, and have a good weekend.